If you guys want one-on-one training, online training, or nutritional coaching, please head on over to my website, jpfitnesspro.com. Just go to the services tab and select which one you would like. You can also subscribe to my newsletter and contact me through my website as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks.
What is up, you guys? JP here. One of my subscribers actually gave me a good idea for a video series, just a small series. I wouldn't consider actually it a series, but just some videos to do on workout splits. I have done a video on workout splits before, but I did all of them in one video, and it was a screen capture of some notes I wrote in Microsoft's Note app or Note application. So I thought doing an independent video on each split itself and telling you the pros and cons each will give you guys smaller videos to kind of consume, and then it'll also give you, I can go a little bit more in depth on each split in particular. So whoever asked about this for me to do a video series on this, thank you. Sorry, I can't remember your YouTube name right off the top of my head, but you did comment recently. I will write your name down in the description, or I'll pin a comment of myself thanking you. So I really appreciate you giving me this idea to kind of go over these again. So this video, I'm specifically going to go over bro splits. If you don't know what workout splits are, all they are just a way you arrange your workouts throughout the week and which muscle groups throughout your week. So for example, if you do like in bro splits, you'll do chest on Monday and legs on Tuesday. So workout splits are just a way you split the muscle groups throughout the week. So a bro split, which I just touched up on, is where you do one muscle group per week, and it's arranged very similar to this fashion: chest on Monday, legs on Tuesday, arms on Wednesday, shoulders on Thursday, and back on Friday. Now, if you throw an off day in there and switch one of those days to the weekend, that's fine. It doesn't matter how you arrange it, but essentially a bro split is you do one muscle group a week, and you're not doing a bunch of muscle groups on one day. You're just targeting one specific muscle group. Bro split is kind of also known as an old school bodybuilding split. That's another way to think about it. So again, this is typically how the layout would be: chest, legs, arms, shoulders, back, each getting their own day, and you do it one time a week. Again, there are other ways you could structure a bro split. Again, I could structure one split multiple different ways, but again, this is your typical bro split. And then when people say bro split, this is what they mean. So this is the video that I'm going to do it on, and I'll talk about pseudo bro splits at the end of this video. So bro splits, as the person who commented, bro splits recently in the last couple years, 5 years, 3 years, and just recently have been getting basically shit on a lot. A lot of people are just saying, hey, bro splits, they fucking suck, they're whack, they're terrible, you know, why are you doing them, man? It's all about total body and all this stuff. And I'm not even here to just jump on the bandwagon and kind of just knock bro splits over and over again. I'm just going to explain to you why they're not good. I mean, flat out, they're just not good. I personally don't like them, but there are some very small circumstances where you might do them. So before I start knocking it, let's go into the pros of bro splits. One good pro of bro splits, which actually is the most important aspect in regards to working out and nutrition, is adherence. If you don't enjoy the workout program you're doing, it doesn't matter how effective it is. So you have to think about adherence over everything else. Now, in this instance, if you really like bro splits, you only like, this is kind of an extreme and not many people would fit into this case. I've actually never met anyone to fit into this case. But if you're one of those people who says, I won't go to the gym unless it's a bro split, unless I'm doing a bro split, I won't work out, then if you're the type of person to do that, then bro splits are for you. And I actually think in that instance, bro splits would be good, because if it's what gets you into the gym to work out, then some working out is better than no working out. Now that's an extreme. Now, if you're one of those people who's not that much of an extreme, but like a lesser version of that, if you're saying, well, I like bro splits more than the other splits, I like old school bodybuilding styles, and I look up to the old school golden era bodybuilders, and you just prefer to do a split like that, and not so strongly that like you hate the other splits, but you just like bro splits, in that instance, then maybe a bro split might be good for you, because again, it increases your adherence. So if you like to go to the gym, or it makes you want to go to the gym, that's good. But in that less exaggerated instance, I would still recommend, if you don't mind doing other splits, you'll see a lot more benefit. So I would actually recommend you think about maybe trying another split. If you prefer bro splits, but not so much like the first example I gave. So again, that's the main and only real pro that I can think of in regards to this sort of bro split, is if you really like doing it and it helps you, get to the gym, then by all means go ahead and do your bro split. No one's gonna bash you, and if someone bashes you because you enjoy doing this, then they don't know what they're talking about. Now, if you're not in the category of, oh, I don't prefer bro splits more than any other split, I just thought they were good, or I don't know if they're good or not, and I just want to do what's most effective because whether or not I do multiple muscle groups a week doesn't really bother me, then this is where I actually think that would benefit you the most. So in regards to the cons of bro splits, the main issue with bro splits, and this has been shown in the scientific literature time and time again, is that you only hit one muscle group per week, or you hit each muscle group once a week. Sorry, bad wording there. So you get a 1 times frequency shown. 1 times frequency is shown to be inferior to 2 or 3 times a week frequency. Bar none, that is not a gray area. That's pretty black and white. So again, if you just want to make better gains in regards to hypertrophy and strength, doing a muscle group 1 time a week is just not optimal, and there's many reasons for that, which I kind of have some sub reasons for that as well. One of the sub reasons is you can only get so much volume on one day. We have a maximum effective dose. Every individual, regardless if you're advanced or a beginner, can only handle so much volume on one day for a given muscle group. It's just inevitable. We can't just keep doing sets and make more and more and more gains. If that were the case, then you'd have super dedicated series, people in the gym for 7-8 hours, all the time, doing that every single week, week to week to week. But that's not the case. There's a ceiling that you're gonna hit where you're not gonna get any returns, and then you start dipping into negative outcomes where you don't make any actual good benefit from that. So again, you have a maximum effective dose. You can only your body can only intelligently tolerate so much volume on one day before you start getting negative outcomes on it, before you start seeing negative things from it. You're not gonna start making gains past a certain point, and you might actually hurt yourself past a certain point. So that's one reason why, is that when you're hitting a muscle group once a week, you either, one, don't do that much volume, like you could just not do that much volume on your chest day, but then hitting a muscle group once a week, only once a week, and you're doing low volume, just means you're leaving a ton of gains on the table. Now, if you're like, okay, I'm only hitting it once a week, I'm gonna do a ton of volume on one day, well, then you hit into that problem of past a certain point, you're not really gonna make any gains. Protein synthesis only lasts for 36 to 48 hours. Past that, you're not gonna, again, continue to make gains. You might just have damaged yourself beyond adequate repair. So another reason, another sub point of doing a muscle group 1 time a week is that it's harder to increase skill. And this is kind of more of my opinion, but there's a lot of merit to it. Strength, you have to think of one of the main components of strength is skill acquisition. So if your goal at all is to get stronger at any point, which most people, even people whose primary goal is to get stronger, someone would say, well, yeah, if I can gain muscle optimally and also get stronger, why would I not do that? Which most people would say that that's the case. I've never met anyone who says, I don't ever want to get stronger. I've met people who said that their primary goal isn't to get stronger, but I've never met anyone who says that they didn't want to get stronger at any sense. So one of the components of strength is skill acquisition, and to get good at a lift, you probably want to do it more often than once a week. That doesn't mean you have to go heavy every single time. That doesn't mean you have to go to failure every single time, but doing the lift more than once a week is a sure way to get better at that lift. You could have a heavy day, you could have a hypertrophy day, and then you could have a power or technique day, which again, I would absolutely bet money, and I'm not sure if there's science behind this, but there is some component behind this or some merit to this, where if you do it more than once a week, you'll probably get better at that exercise. Your skill's gonna go up. I equate a squat or a deadlift or any other exercise to shooting a bow and arrow or shooting a basketball or throwing a football. If you do it 1 time a week, you're probably not gonna get as good at it as fast as someone who does it 2 or 3 times a week. So that's another reason why 1 times frequency is just, again, that's so hard, because think about it, you're only hitting chest once a week or any of those muscle groups. Now, Another con of bro splits is that there's muscle group crossover no matter how you cut, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you split it, there's gonna be crossover muscle groups from day to day that you're working out. When you work out a muscle group for hypertrophy, you're trying to damage that muscle to some extent, and then you need to recover from it. You need to not work it the next day to another hard degree. Now, you could argue that you could have back-to-back days, or you could work your chest back-to-back days, but one day be hard and the next day be super light technique day. But that's not what bro splits are. If you're only working a muscle group once a week, you don't want that one time a week to be a light technique day. You want that one day to be able to stimulate, to be hard enough that it's gonna stimulate some muscle growth. So if you're doing every single muscle group hard enough so that you can stimulate muscle groups, or you can stimulate muscle growth, you don't want to do the muscle group back-to-back days, which it's impossible to avoid in a bro split. For example, if you have chest on Monday, and then you have legs on Tuesday, and you have arms on Wednesday, from arms to shoulders, you're working your triceps 2 days in a row. And then you're like, okay, well, let's just flip some of these days. If you put shoulders right here, you flip these two, you're working arms one day and then you're working back the next day. So now you're working back 2 times in a row. And then actually you'd still be, then you'd still be working shoulders, which would be triceps, because there's triceps involvement with shoulder exercises. And then you're gonna be working arms the next day. So that would actually make it worse. Then if you put shoulders up here, you're working chest, which is gonna work triceps and shoulders. Then you're working triceps and shoulders again on Tuesday. If you put your off day in between here, that would actually work a little bit. If you put your, well, actually no, it depends on where your other off days are. You might be able to structure some off days in here, but it's going to be really hard to not get some crossover between the muscle groups. A lot of you may not be able to work out on the weekend. There's certain days you can't work. Maybe in an absolute perfect scenario, you might not have any more crossovers. I'd have to actually think about that a little bit, where because you could put an off day after your arms, but then you have one more off day you could put after back. I guess that would kind of cover that right there. But again, that's in a perfect scenario. If for some reason you can't have an off day right here because of work, family life, you're putting yourself in a situation where you have no leeway. If you try to make up for that somewhere else, you're going to end up having crossover. And a lot of people will do a bro split like this. So it's kind of really hard to do that, whereas the other splits, it's easy to avoid that. The way you structure it, you'd have to do something really weird to get that same thing. So the next con of it is that set quality is most likely going to suffer. And it is, because like the other example I said, it's like you only get to hit that muscle group once a week. You're not going to use that one day you have for a light technique day. You're like, okay, well, I'm only hitting it once a week. I need to hit it good and make sure I, give it enough of a stimulus so that it has a reason to grow. So what's going to happen is if you put too low volume on one day, you're leaving a bunch of gains on the table. But if you do too much volume one day, you just cram a ton of exercises on chest day. The last half of that workout, again, I'd bet money on this, your technique is probably going to falter somewhere. Whether your technique's going to falter or you're just going to be tired from the first half of the workout because you did so many chest exercises that the last half of the workout, all those chest exercises, you're just not going to be able to lift as much weight. Think about it like this. You have a bunch of exercises, and towards the end of the workout, you have a lateral raise or a dumbbell front raise. Now, what if a lateral raise or dumbbell front raise were one of the first, or not, actually, that would be shoulders. Sorry, I'm thinking about upper body push. If you have a chest day and then let's just say one of the last exercises you hit were dumbbell flies. That's a better example. Now, you're not going to be able to do as many reps or do as much weight on this chest day because you're already fatigued from your bench press, your dips, or whatever other exercises you structure for a chest workout. Now, let's just say you had dumbbell flies, but you had it on like an upper day where it's an upper-lower split, an upper day, and you had it more of a fresh. You did it more fresh. It was one of the first chest exercises you did, maybe the second or third. You would actually be able to do more reps and more volume. So cramming all these sets on one day is probably going to lower the quality, the way the set actually looks. It's probably going to look more sloppy. When you have all these sets on one day, the last half of the sets are probably going to look worse than the first half. And two, another thing is that you're just probably not going to be able to do as much volume on that last half of the sets versus like splitting up your chest multiple times a week. And one of the last cons that I can come up with, and again, I'm not just trying to come up with these reasons, these came to me pretty easily, is there really an option for less days to work out? Using this scenario, chest, legs, arms, shoulders, back. You have to work out 5 times a week if you want to hit every muscle group per week. If you're doing a bro split, remember, if you're doing a bro split, I'm going to address different bro splits in a little bit. So if you're doing a bro split like this, one muscle group or each muscle group 1 time a week, you pretty much have to work out 5 times a week if you want to get every muscle group. Now you could argue and say, well, what if I don't do every muscle group once a week? Let's just say I do 3 workouts a week. So day 1, day 2, day 3, that's 1 week. Day 1, day 2, day 3, that's 2 weeks. Day 1, day 2, day 3, that's the 3rd week. But now you're not even hitting every muscle group once a week. You're hitting it every 1.5 weeks or every 2 weeks. So that's even more gains you're leaving on the table. And you can only do that so much before you start to not really make much gains at all. So if you want unless you want very low frequency to the point where you're making gains at a snail's pace, slower than even you would normally being a natural lifter and all that other stuff, you can't work out less than 5 times a week with the bro split. Your frequency is already super low. You don't want to make it even lower. So you have to work out 5 times a week using the split. Again, unless you want bad gains, which is just impractical for some people. Some people cannot work out 5 times a week. They just can't do it. They have a life. I'm not saying people who work out 5 times a week don't have a life, because I work out 6 times a week. I'm just saying that they have life things that pop up. Some people have kids. Some people have jobs that they can't be at the gym 5 times a week. It's just not practical. And a bro split does not let you make optimal gains or even close to optimal gains if you're not going 5 times a week, which even if you were, you wouldn't be making optimal gains with a bro split. But if you want to make decent gains, you can't even do that if you have a really busy life. So again, those are the reasons why I just don't agree with the bro split. That's why people shit on bro splits so much, and that's why they're just not heavily recommended. And I don't really recommend them. I never programmed that for anyone unless they said that they wanted to, which I've never trained anyone who said that. Now, to address what I've mentioned it a few times, to address these pseudo bro splits, some of you may already be thinking in your head, I know Jeff Nimpern made a video about this, and I know a couple other people made a video about this. They do like a pseudo bro split where on their shoulder day, they'll do a close grip bench press, and they consider that a shoulder exercise or a tricep exercise, and they'll put that on their arm days. For example, they'll do close grip bench press on their arm day. And say, well, if I'm doing a close grip bench press on arm day, it's also involving chest, so now I'm hitting chest here, and I'm also getting some chest here. Well, I'd argue that that's no longer a bro split. You're not doing a bro split anymore. That's not what people refer to as a bro split. And if you're switching up the bro split, so you're now hitting chest both days, if you put, like, for example, on arm days, if you're trying to do a tricep exercise and you're doing a close grip bench press for triceps, I would argue that that's no longer, that's not even an arm day anymore, for one, because again, with a close grip bench press, the prime movers are going to be the shoulders, the triceps, and the chest. But the main prime mover, the one that's handling the bulk of the weight, is going to be a chest. So saying that's a tricep exercise is just changing the wording a little bit and saying it does this when you're not giving all the information. So I would argue that that's not even a bro split. If you're changing the bro split so much that you end up doing each muscle group twice a week, like another example I think Jeff had in his video, which I'm not saying Jeff's video is bad, I'm just saying that this wouldn't be a bro split anymore, is if on back day you do deadlifts. So you do deadlifts on back day and you consider a deadlift a back exercise, which I did a video on that as well. I personally put my deadlifts on leg days, even if you do maybe get a little sore in back sometimes doing deadlifts. But the prime movers for a deadlift are going to be your quads, hamstrings, and glutes. And the quads are depending on if you do sumo or not. But so if you put deadlifts on back day and that's just how you structure it, you're now doing leg exercise and then a leg exercise, so you're not hitting legs twice a week. Again, I would argue that that's no longer a bro split. So if you're modifying the bro split so much that you're hitting muscle groups more than once a week, then cool, fine. Call it a bro split if that's what works for you and you want to say it's a bro split, cool. Then great, I want you to see success with that. But when I'm saying bro splits aren't good, I'm saying a bro split like this because this is what a bro split is. Now, changing it up is whatever you want to do, that's fine. I hope you have success with it. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. The next one I'm probably going to do is probably total body, since that seems to be a very popular one. But again, that's bro splits. Don't mean to just hate on them. Try to give you guys the science behind it. Again, questions, comments, leave them down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.